What's up, everyone? Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. This is your host, Vikka Draziv. Guys, welcome to the show. If you're watching us from YouTube, do comment, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. And if you're watching us from World Flat Earth Association group or Flat Earth Research Network group, do comment and tag your friends. And finally, if you're watching us from realtruthseekers.com, rts.video, yes, we have a huge community there, so a big welcome to everyone there too. And yes, realtruthseekers.com is one of our main sponsors for Heliopsychosis podcast and most of our coming production. So make sure you guys check out realtruthseekers.com, rts.video. And yeah, what an awesome and interesting show we have today. Let's jump into our host and panelist. My first co-host, everybody know him from our production team and Heliopsychosis podcast. Genie, how are you, brother?
Hey Vika, what's up, brother? Thanks for having me. This is great show tonight. We got so many to go over with the ancient cosmologies and how they described similarities of where we live, right? And what I noticed going over all these shows, bro, is that what they've done is dropped pseudoscience.
Oops. Go ahead, Genie. We don't hear you. Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. Anyway, no, Vika, thanks, brother. It's great to be here. This is going to be a great discussion. And welcome, everybody. Welcome back. If you're here for the first time, great to have you. I hope you enjoy it. It's going to be fun seeing the similarities between all of the cosmologies and the books, how they describe a flat Earth, and how science basically stepped in and put delusion all over it. And now people think what they're looking at flat is a curve. So this is great. And welcome, everyone. Thanks, Vika.
Oh, yeah, definitely, brother. Great to have you again. And our next panel is supposed to be Harry, but Harry, I think, had some problem with the internet, so maybe he's gonna be having in and out. So maybe we'll have him back in some time. And our next panel is then gonna be Evelyn. Evelyn, how are you?
Hello, everybody. Looking forward for this live stream. Also really interesting to see the similarities in all the cosmologies, especially this one that we're going to do today. I was quite surprised, actually, but well, we'll hear it all about it later.
Oh yeah, it's so not difficult to see the similarities, right? That's why we are doing this. So yeah, great to have you back, all too, Evelyn. And yeah, we finally have Harry too. Harry, how are you? Yeah, Harry, we don't hear you still. Try again, brother.
Your microphone is muted.
Yeah, I see his mic's off.
You have to unmute your mic, Harry. Maybe it's yeah. This is the thing. He's having some bad weather there, so that could be the problem. No problem. We're gonna get him back. So yeah, welcome everybody to the show. Yeah, today we are discussing, as you saw the title, Flat Earth in Quran. So before we jump into the show, we want to make clear that this is for research and investigation purpose only. We are not trying to push any religion on anybody, with respect to everybody, that we don't hurt anybody's feeling about anything. And today's, we are supposing the Quran, the cosmology of Quran, which looks like very similar to Torah, very similar to the Bible, very similar to the Mesopotamia, Babylon. So a bit of Egyptian. So there's a bit of mix in there too with the Quran. and that's what we are going to try to see the version of the Quran, a comparison to the other ones we discussed earlier in our podcasts. Harry, you're there, still there? We don't hear you yet. So what does the Quran says about the shape of the earth? Yeah, go ahead, Harry.
Hi, good evening, people. I have some internet thoughts today. What the Quran says about the cosmology? It says that they have a flat Earth with 7 Earths, one under the other, underworlds, an ocean, and mountains. That's the age of the Earth with a hard, dome, right? A solid sky. That's what they call it, and invisible pillars. And I think those invisible pillars are making the eclipses, right? Because we actually never see, the moon, hiding the sun. And that's the solution, they have for the eclipses. And they have 7 jhanas or heavens as well. And each heavens, has a planet name. And the ruler of the gods, realms is the Saturn realm. It's very interesting. Each heaven has a planet name for Islam or Jannah. And as we said before, the word Jannah, which means heavens or paradise, it's similar to the word Janana in Arabic, which means madness. No, but maybe when you get illuminated, when you get into God ecstasy, you get like crazy, like mad, right? That's the way they call the Sufis,
Yeah. They are like in a kind of trance, like, so yeah.
Yeah, you're in trance, and they are captured by divinity, the Sufis. So they're like mad, those dervish, the dervish,
Yeah, the dancing dervish, the whirling dervishes from Turkey.
Yeah, not only, the dervishes are
they are everywhere in the world. Yeah, I know, right? Anywhere there is Islamic religion or Sufism, their dervishes are there. Yeah.
But the Syrian dervishes or Iranian dervishes, they're just living in the mountain, away from society, and they're wise and illuminated people. They're very wise.
Yeah, they are like the gurus of the Asia, ancient, like from the India or the fakirs, or so a similar. So dervishes are supposed to be also the Muslim part of the sadhus and the gurus and the masters and the maestros or whatever. No, so more people who are connected to the, in a way, of divine, right?
The mysticism, the mysticism of Islam. The Sufis. That's what I was reading about the Muslim cosmology, and you can interpret it in so many different ways, depending on your awareness or consciousness, right?
Exactly right. Yeah. So this is the thing. No, what else does the Quran says about the shape of the earth? Like the Quran is supposed to be holy book of Islam. For the Muslims, it's the word of God, or in Arabic, Allah revealed to Prophet Muhammad, who received these revelations through the archangel Gabriel. Like the transmission of the Quran is done without the slightest change in classical Arabic. Like these are supposed to be like memorized verses, So the evidence is that the Quran clearly supports and describes the flat earth model.
Yes. And the thing, it's like coinciding with the Jewish cosmology, the first heaven, the age of the heavens are in Antarctica, the same as the Jewish cosmology, and I think the same of all the ancient cosmologies. The end of the world is the dome, which is ending on the Antarctica.
Yeah, in some of the verses, it does mention that the heavens are supposed to be in the outskirts of this earth. One of the heavens where normally the human beings are gonna go after their judgment is to this heaven which is on this earth, on the outskirts. This is one of the things they mention in the Quran, or in the Quran cosmology, And then you have the seven heavens above. The hell and the Jannah is supposed to be here on this earth. So anyway, before we get into that, let's start with the word in Islamic or in Arabic, the earth. Like in Arabic, it's called al-ard, ard, ard, al-ard. Okay, it's a typical Arabic word. Now, where does this word sounds like earth? Earth. It's the same word, literally taken from Arabic, the earth. So whoever took this word and put the name of the earth took it from the Islamic cosmology, the word earth, but didn't took the real cosmology of the shape of the earth, which is flat.
Yeah, in Dutch, the word aard, A-A-R-D, that means earth.
Yeah.
See?
Exactly. You see, it's come from Latin. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, but the Arabic you have different th and t's as well, and these they have a different type of them.
Right.
Like Sanskrit.
Exactly.
Something just crossed my mind when you said about heaven and on earth. It reminded me of we typically think that they hide in land somewhere. So with animals and fruit and stuff like that we couldn't even imagine on this portion of the world, they got us locked in. So it's just I saw a little similarity there between the two.
Yeah, and it also do mention about hell too. Hell is supposed to be also on this earth, but below, and it's supposed to be enclosed. That's why the ones who are supposed to be in the hell are enclosed. They won't be able to free themselves and live outside. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, in the Hebrew version, you have Sheol, and that is
hell.
hell, and it's below, way below. So that's probably where the 200 angels were sent to be to wait for the judgment.
Under the 8 mile mark.
Yes.
Exactly, and it starts. The creation story also starts very similar, but it's supposed to be happened in 6 days, more or less. More or less. So, and it only speaks about the earth and the heavens. That's it, and everything in between. Yes. That's how it starts the creation story. So the 4 days of those 6 days were only to make the heavens. So the earth was already made in more or less in couple of days.
Yeah.
And it's speaks about earth and water. Right, go ahead.
Yeah, what I found interesting is that it talks about the 7 earths and the 7 heavens, and the earths are one on top of the other in levels, and the corresponding heaven is also in layers, but it encompasses the whole underside also. So it's like a circle, a bubble within a bubble within a bubble within a bubble.
Yeah, like a UFO, like a flying saucer, but made of different layers.
Yeah.
So, like all the psyops on top of psyops on top of psyops.
Yeah.
Huh. It's like they have intraterrenal, life, other worlds under this world, right?
Yeah.
And I remembered the description of the 7 heavens also in the other book of I think it's the book of Adam and Eve, or the Legend of the Jews, one of the two. They describe also that God made the seven heavens also. So yeah, it comes to the same thing here, the same idea.
Oh yeah, it also mentions that the earth was made.
Yes.
Okay, first the earth was made, and then the heavens, because the heavens are above. Okay, so to start a building, you need a base. You need a base,
A
and the base is the earth.
Exactly.
Yeah, you
And
need
then
a
above,
foundation.
yeah, the foundation, and then above are the heavens. And there are different views that speaks about those heavens being flat and level, like like literally like a building,
Mm-hmm.
and some speaks about a dome shaped roof, like structure that holds different heavens above, as we spoke before, like in a shape of a flying saucer or something like that.
The interesting thing is like in the highest heaven, it's the Saturn heaven, and there is the throne of God. It's like the ruler of this matrix is Saturn. And there's the cult of Saturn in the Mecca, right? When you go to Mecca, you see the square, the black square, which means the black square is a cross if you open the square. So how Saturn is ruling the Islam, on the collective unconscious.
Yeah, but
And
it's supposed to be a geometric shape, because, for example, even in the Hebrews, they really adore the cube. So
yes,
it cannot be only, yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And you see all the entities, international entities, you have the black cube as well.
Right, right. But the black cube, maybe it's still debatable. The importance is the cube there, as you mentioned, because when you open that cube, it's a cross, right?
Yes.
The cross is the combination of when everything meets, in that cross is the point of the truth now, right? So it's a representation, right? In a way.
So does the box mean that it's closed, like your mind is closed? Because the graduation cap is a representation of that as well.
I think here it's more of a representation of the world more than anything else. What my opinion, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, just asking.
Yeah, the thing
Seems
is
like
like
that.
they call it the pre-Copernican universe, That's they call it. And
Exactly.
the other interesting things like Saturn represent the old, ruler and judging you as well. But it's benevolent when you're right, when you just adopt, a doctrine and you just devote to this doctrine, will compensate you, for all the rudeness he has, right? It's not a bad guy, Saturn, but he's just and he's judging you constantly.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but it's part. I think it's part of the three Abrahamic religion. No, so there have to be a lot of similarities in a way of some things. Of how strict is the God.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So like in the Quran, it's mentioned. Like the Arabic, various Arabic term that conveys a flat earth. Spread out like a carpet. Like for the Islamic view of the shape of the earth, the word carpet is been used and the earth we have spread out like a carpet.
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
set and
Sorry.
set there on mountains, firm and immovable,
Mm-hmm.
and produce therein all kind of things in due balance. Like the mountains are supposed to be like stakes or pegs,
Pegs, right? Yeah.
yeah, to that the earth don't disbalance itself.
Yeah. It also mentions that there are pillars, but you can't see them.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what also was mentioning. Yeah,
One of the
that the
verses,
invisible pillars. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. One of the verses. It is Allah who erected the heavens without pillars that you can see. So yeah, they have something there.
Sounds like
Probably
the tree.
Oh yeah,
other.
it's speaking about the perfection. It's speaking about the perfection that it's holding the whole plane and the heavens above on those invisible pillars. And this also is one thing they that's what they believe. Why the Muslim people go around the Kaaba, uh, around that cube, because they believe that the whole heavens, the central column of the whole plains and the heavens and the earth is right there in Mecca, and that is supposed to be the center of the earth, and all the heavens are accessible in a way through that column above that cube. That's what they believe. Yeah, go ahead.
So the thing is, like, those cosmologies, the Jews, the Muslim, or whatever, they couldn't explore the Antarctica, right? They couldn't, circumnavigate Antarctica, but they knew they have, mountains, and those mountains connecting with the solid heaven. How they, I'm just blowing my mind, thinking about how they knew about it, because today we don't know exactly how high are the mountains in Antarctica. We speculate about average of 3,000 meters, right? High, but they knew it.
Oh yeah, as you mentioned, no, that if they could go on the mountain and see that they can only see plains, they could see only flat lands. That's what they mentioned, right? In a way,
Yeah.
they don't see any curve.
No, but how they know they have mountains in the Antarctica? Right? That's blow my mind. How they knew exactly the shape of the Earth? Because they say if you go to those mountains and you just try to break, this solid heaven, you go to other world.
Exactly.
Just like the ships found 400 miles past the wall, right?
Oh yeah.
That's the reason the United States were obsessed about Antarctica, trying to find a highway into other worlds, into other dimensions.
The thing that I ask myself right now is, do the Islam or Muslims, do they teach this when they go to their mosques? I mean,
Oh yeah, they don't. Yeah, when they study their Islam, they have to teach some things to the children, right? Maybe they don't teach so much in the detail, but they could speak about the sun, the movements of the sun, and the luminaries. Maybe a bit of flatness.
They describe the moon and the sun as chasing each other too, but they put it in a science fiction kind of mainstream way, as far as I know.
Okay, like we take the Greek and Norwegian myths in that aspect.
They teach the Earth is where you're able to see and to feel. You don't believe in what you don't see. They don't believe in the galaxies, for example. So they believe in a local sun and moon as well on the same side, because they can see the same side.
Exactly, because they don't believe in that there exists galaxies and super quasars and black holes and all this crap. They don't believe it because they believe in what they see, and they don't see all this crap, so they don't believe in it. It's very simple, but it's very logical too, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Because I'm thinking there are a lot of Muslims in Christians and Muslims and in whole of Africa, and I come across a whole load of flat Earth Muslims. So I'm thinking, well, what are they getting that we are not? And that probably has to be the teachings that they get in the mosque.
Yeah, that's why. That's the thing, because they are not going to teach things which is not there in their hadith. Hadith is supposed to be the scriptures in a way, right? So, and they literally teach that. So the people who are going deeper, other than just, like following things to follow as a religion, there are people who go deep in every religion, right? There are scholars and people who go deeper, and they literally say it, and there are people, or where some imams from Egypt and from Saudi Arabia, they're saying literally that the earth is flat and the sun and the moon is what moves in the sky.
Yeah, because if you go to a Catholic church for a service, I mean, you get basically the same thing every week, and sing a few hymns, and off you go.
Oh yeah, but this is the thing, the Torah, the Hebrew, like the Christians, the Bible, and the Islamic and the Quran, they are from the same root. We all know that it's kind of, it's, you can call them three brothers from the same roots, even though there are so much differences and fighting between them, but there are many similarities than differences. And according to the timelines of the three religion, this Islamic religion is supposed to be the newest, right? The
most modern.
Most modern. So we could call it, in a way, maybe it's the latest download of the same information. If we call the Abrahamic religion our same, so it's almost like that.
I think it's like they always the Muslims respect Jesus and Holy Moses, but the last prophet is Muhammad, right? But they have to respect them, and they have to respect Christianism and Judaism as well. That's a good Muslim, because they understand they are, another aspect of the same teachings.
Exactly, because the God of Abraham is the same, and of the Moses, and of Adam, and everyone. Because even in the Muslim, it's the same creation story. That's why we are not getting into that with Adam and Eve in the Eden with the apple, and coming from the ribs and the clay. It's the same thing. So that's why we didn't jump into that, the creation story, and everything after that too. If you see the Moses and Noah and until, so during the time of Jesus, the thing changed. So it's, why should be there differences, right? So, and curious, in Spain was one of the only countries in the world where the Muslims and the Jews and the Christians used to live in harmony. Andalus, it's famous here in Spain.
That's great.
And you can see so much in the architecture and the way things are, and a lot of in the language too. That combination of the three culture, yeah. So let's see what else. Which text, other text, we mentions about the flatness. It also mentioned that the sky is a structure, like the water we have here comes from the sky. Like the constellations of the stars are set in the sky, and God raises the sky. Like the sky is a ceiling. At the end of the age, or the end of during the judgment, the sky will open, and the heaven contains a lamp and the moon that gives us light, and men cannot escape on earth or in heaven. And the heaven and earth were not created in vain. and it's literally mentioned that the earth is fixed.
Yes, it talks about the mountains being like sort of pins to hold the earth so it doesn't move.
Exactly, and it also mentions that in the judgment time, these mountains would be taken out so that everybody can see everything. That in itself is like mentioning flat earth.
Yes, and it's also in Revelations that the land will flatten. All the mountains will be flattened, and that's what also mentioned. The mountains will be flattened to just make it all flat. So there's a lot of things, like also like the sky unfolding like a scroll.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same in Revelation. So it's got all these similarities. That
And
exactly
also
the
like,
same.
and also Muhammad going on that trip, to different heavens, and the same like Enoch.
Yes,
Sounds very similar.
it's
Right.
very similar. Yes.
Yeah, and also it meant. Yeah, go ahead, Harry.
Oh, sorry, because in Jerusalem they have the Dome of the Rock, and they say that Muhammad ascends to heaven in Jerusalem, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because all those cosmologies, they're just talking about life near to the heavens, right? Like floating islands. So, and those like Jibril or Gabriel, the angel, they're coming from there. They're like more advanced spiritual, physical beings, not only celestial beings, but they're inhabiting the dimensions in the same realm.
Right, and it also mentioned that, for example, when Muhammad was taken on this trip to different heavens, he literally met Adam, and it also mentioned, like roughly, it mentions like that all these heavens are supposed to have these prophets, like in a way. In one, you have the nearest, you have the Adam, and like this, and in another heaven is somebody else, and in the last heaven is in the third or fourth is supposed to be Abraham, and in the seventh is supposed to be Moses.
Sometimes they're mentioning, Abraham or Ibrahim like an entity and not like a human being. That's interesting.
Yeah, because he was one of those early ones, right?
And they're coming from Persia, right? From the Euphrates and Tigris, river originally.
Oh yeah, because they mention Nile and Euphrates. They mention about four rivers also, like in different another cosmology and the old maps about the four rivers. That two that comes out are supposed to be the source of the Nile and the Euphrates, and the two that goes in are going to the heaven, because that's what it speaks about. The sweet water and the water that we can drink also moves in a way below the earth.
So actually, all the Abrahamic religions are Babylonic.
Oh yeah, that's why it's the similarities, right?
Yeah, but physically they came from there. And the funny thing is, like where I'm located, in my actually present location here in Israel, we are at the edge of the Golan High, and it was a crazy man, living in my community. Crazy. We are crazy, but he was sober, in my opinion. Said that Abraham came down from here, across our community, and get into the Canaan, area, which is we are in the Canaan area in the Upper Galilee here, right? And I believe him. because everyone here was laughing about this guy, so he's crazy, he's mad. But madness, in my opinion, is soberness as well.
Oh yeah, there's always gonna be some versions, right? So yeah, and in the verse in the Quran, verse 222, it said like, "Who made the earth a bed for you, and the heavens your canopy, and He sends rain from the heaven, and with her it produces fruits for your sustenance."
Right.
Yes. So basically, we are created in order to be fruitarians and not eating, cooked and processed foods.
Oh yeah,
The Sufis know about it, and they're all fruitarian or pranic.
exactly. It also refers to the earth as a flat expanse, like the heavens are a canopy building. The word translated is bino or binan.
Binan. Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know about it. That's something new. But the thing is, like all the heavens are converging into another, explanation. Like the earth continue, or the world continue after this earth and meeting another continents, and the other continents are part that inside those heavens. That's the reason they say the lands of Mars, the lands of Mercury, the lands of Saturn. That's the way they call the other continents outside this dome. It's
Oh
not
yeah, now that you're mentioning about that, it also speaks about the distances in a way, like and it also speaks about the breadth, the width of the earth is the same as the heaven. So imagine the heaven is supposed to be as huge as the earth, the heavens above.
wow. We need to explore. Somehow we have to get out of this dome to see, what's going on around. Because there are another domes and another domes and another domes, and there is a huge dome over all those
Right.
domes around.
Oh yeah, in some places it does mention like does this sky ceiling is accessible if we have a huge ladder or something, so that is so strong that it can handle that in a way.
What do you think about Jacob's
Ladder.
ladder? Because the Muslims, they believed in that thing as well, because they are very much attached to the Gabriel or Jibril angel, and the same the same cosmology as the Jews. They're sharing a lot of things in Islam.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and this Jacob ladder thing, the UFO guys, they love this part. They try to attach it with themselves. Like some UFO craft or something like this.
Because of the islands, the lands, the floating land, continent, that they need a craft, to go up and down.
Exactly, and also it speaks about the distances. It speaks about 73 years or something like this. 73 years walking distance, if I remember it right. Going towards outside or going upwards. So it other thing it mentions is only mentions at the above and below, up and down. There is no, you know,
Yeah. They
on a
measure
ball.
all in yards, or steps they measure.
Keep in mind, right, how they describe space is to be endless, never ends. That's probably the size of what we live on, I think. If they're going to call that what they call that, then I got to apply it to where we really live with their stories.
Oh yeah, because according to the Islamic cosmology, it's supposed to be just Earth and the water,
right,
and a lot. So that's what space is. That's it.
The thing
Yeah.
is, like, they don't, mention the water of Avon. That at least in the in the information I've been reading, and having.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you find it in another source, but I didn't find it. Just try to look for other sources. They just mention the water at our level and underwater, but not the on the top of the highest heaven is the water on the top. They didn't mention it.
They don't.
No, it does. It does mention. It does mention waters. It does mention waters above.
Picture
yeah,
looks like it.
That's great. That's great because I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it does mention also water above. Water is supposed to be the only element that surrounds us.
Well, air is super thin water, isn't it? Like backwards of water. There's moisture in the air, and there's little tiny drops of water, air in the water, and so we're swimming in super thin water.
Also, but here in a way, what he meant was like, in a physical realm, we have water and earth, and if the heavens are similar, there have to be water and earth too, right? So it's like almost having water above us. And if it continues, it could have, in a higher realm, could have water too, because it mentions like the God Allah has sat above the water on his throne. Above the water. Yeah.
Yeah, now I understand it. Yeah, it wasn't clear. Yeah.
Yeah, and also in the verse 20:53, it mentioned he who made the earth for you as a spread carpet, he has allowed you to travel in through roads. He has brought water down from the heaven. With it, he has produced several pairs of plants, each one separate from the other. And it also speaks about in 43:10 that he made the earth spread out for them, and he had made roads in it so that you can be correctly guided. And in verse 57, and the earth we have spread it out, and we have put firm mountains upon it, and we have produced all kind of beautiful buds.
Said we?
Yeah.
Right. It's interesting.
Then it also mentioned that in the verse 71:19, and Allah had made the earth for you and in extension for you to travel the wide roads of him. Again, like in a way, carpet.
Right. I think they say it was spread out like a bed, like 12 times at least, just that one alone. Right. And then they go and they'll call it an egg shape even here and there.
But there's a mistake there about the ostrich egg. Yeah, right. There's a confusion about, because there's a word daha and word dahaha.
Right.
Is and the global scholars, because even in the Islamic think they have contamination like in any other where they try to push in the globe through their scholars. So even it's right there.
Exactly.
So they're trying to hang on to a word which is mentioned as an ostrich egg. And they're saying, here is they're representing the earth as an ostrich egg.
Quack, quack.
But after more investigation, it is shown that it's what he's trying to say. Yeah, go ahead. What do you want to say?
How many times is that mentioned?
Few times. But what it's trying to show is that an ostrich, when it lays an egg, it spreads the soil.
Okay, makes a bed.
Yeah, it makes a bed.
A bed
to lay the egg. So it's a representation. It's showing the representation of how the earth is being stretched out, or flattened out.
And the egg would be the life then, right?
Yeah, it's a way of showing how the place is prepared. The egg, maybe we are the children, maybe, in a way. In that egg, but on that flat.
Right. That makes sense.
And also it mentions about the farash, the sky. Falak also it is mentioned. Yeah.
Right, and I remember that it says how the moon and the sun chase each other. So that doesn't happen in heliocentric model.
Yeah, Sharif says it's got nothing to do with the egg.
Who?
Sharif Ibrahim.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a lot of new people here
on the live chat.
Yeah, in the live chat today. So guys, make sure you guys subscribe and.
Hi everybody. Any questions? I don't have.
And anybody have any questions for this? Definitely leave there. We're gonna try to get back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the thing. The scholars they always try to contaminate these kind of stuff, so that the people confuse it.
Yeah, they put the pseudoscience onto it and sell it in the schools. Through every single one of these discussions that we're having, it's sort of the same MO, same pattern. It's cool. So at least we can see it. You can see it. If you don't, it's like if you don't know, then how do you work with that, right? So if we know, then we can work with it, no matter what it is. That's why they won't tell us all these things they're doing to us. Then we'll know. And we wouldn't have it.
Exactly. And it also mentioned the earth is fixed and immobile. Yes, he who has made the earth a permanent home and made rivers in the midst of it, made firm mountains in it, and made a barrier between the two seas.
Barrier. I wonder what that means. Is that the ice wall? Is that what surrounds it? And there's something past it, maybe? I don't know.
I think it speaks about the heavens, the door. It's like mentioning that he opened also, like in a way, the heavens door where the water came in. Like then he opened the gates of the heaven with a torrent of water.
The flood?
And maybe to fill it up, maybe for the flood, because there are also different scripture speaks about the flood that the water came from above, right?
Right.
But here it speaks about in a way that also in a way the torrent of water, the spring water in a way, the people, our what we human lives on is the most important element, right? Is the water, right? That's what we also were today. Coincidentally, we were speaking about that in our chat where Harry mentioned about the water and he distilled it, and there was so much crap coming out of the tap water. So,
Right.
so in a way, it's mentioned the how importance of water is, and that it's coming from the above, and it's going in subterranean, and it moves in different directions, and the way it moves.
And water-
I made an experiment with new mineral water, bottled water, the same as the tap water.
No.
And tomorrow I will make an experiment with filter water to see the difference as well.
Water has a memory. And that's kind of cool. When you freeze water, when you say certain things to it, the ice forms different ways.
Yes, I think it was a Japanese that did that experiment.
Oh, that maybe the rice test? Similar?
Yeah, the rice test is similar. Yeah, I haven't done it yet. I would like to do it.
I haven't either. I kind of don't need to. I'd like to see it, sure, but I don't doubt that at all.
Hmm.
That's something we should be being taught how to, utilize that for ourselves. And that's, talk to your food and water. It's good for you. Think about that stuff, right?
That's the tradition of praying before you eat. Before.
Yeah, right. Exactly right.
You talk. You give a blessing to the food so that it doesn't upset.
Right. Yeah, I do that a lot. I think about my food that so the food I'm going to eat right now is in the world somewhere, and there's people handling it, and I think about those people, and I hope they're okay, and I think about that scenario for my friends as well, and that's just kind of how I think. We're swimming in water. Water has memory, and it's all vibration, and that's what I try to put out there. People drinking good water, eating good food, no matter what it is. You eat meat, go ahead. I do too. None of my business.
Oh yeah, and especially it's in Sufism. It's mentioned, Harry, that drink from the waters of the spring, and that comes from the poems of the Sufis about the spring water being the key to immortality, because we being water is supposed to be the more important element. And it's like drinking that pure mineral, or like pure spring water with all those minerals inside. It's like literally like gold.
I think it's like the distiller, the water distiller machine I bought. After the distilling process, going through alkaline minerals, right, in the water. So it's like spring water what I'm drinking. I have this machine for 7 years, and literally I can't drink all the water anymore. But when I'm traveling, I have no choice. I feel the difference. Because the bottled mineral water and the tap water, they calcify your pineal gland.
Exactly, the most targeted part of the human body. What they're doing to us. That's something they really don't want us using.
As we say, go ahead, Harry.
I just want to say hello to Sharif Ibrahim. Give halak ya zalami, because it's writing, in the chat, and I think it's a very, very smart person.
I don't know what you said, but that sounded really beautiful. I love different languages. You guys were speaking before, and I didn't understand the word. I had the biggest smile on my face. I'm just like, wow.
Oh yeah, brother. That's what we all need: diversity, right, in everything.
Yeah.
Do you know what the Druze are? because I'm meeting Druze people tomorrow, religious Druze people, and I want to ask them about their cosmology. The Druze, they are a religion. They came out of Islam. They don't call themselves Muslims. They call themselves Druze. They have their own religion, but it's very similar to the Islam because they're coming from the Islam, right? And tomorrow I will meet them and I will ask them about their cosmology.
Oh yeah. Then also in Quran in 78:17, it says that like the day of the decision is an appointed time of the day. The trumpet is blown, and you come in crowds, and the sky opens and turns into doors.
And this was written or found 1400 years ago, though. Well,
No, this was supposed to be Prophet Muhammad was during a period of 22 years got that as a download, you could say, right?
Right, yeah.
So it's supposed to be the Muslim Hadith is supposed to be a memory stuff. It's been given through sound. It didn't come in the form of book. So that's what they believe. Yeah, that's what they believe in, because it's in verses. That's why it's in verses that nobody can change. So if somebody even change one word, the way it pronounced, the people will know it's been edited, it's been modified. So that's the reason the hadith is supposed to be so pure according to the Muslims, Islamic culture, right?
It's perfect, no contradictions, and if there's one, the whole thing is false.
Exactly.
That's like today's cosmology and science, though. If one thing's off, the whole entire thing falls apart.
Exactly.
There's a similarity there.
And the best part is, it's supposed to be the word of God for the Muslim people, but it's literally mentioning the flat earth. It's literally mentioning the earth, how it is, the expanse, the carpet, the way it's stretched.
The bed.
Right? Yeah, the bed, the heaven, the water, the heavens outside, the heavens above, the hell below. And it also mentioned some, as Evelyn has said, that some heavens could be below because it's going all around. It's crazy. It's yeah.
Think of a plant, though, right? Above and below. The top of the plant could be just as happy as the bottom of the plant. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, it's like every firmament is attached to a level below.
Okay.
So these seven firmaments are attached to the corresponding earth below, and then they stretch just out and around and up.
Exactly. And also in 13:2, it mentioned Allah is the one who erected the heavens without the column that you see, that he had established self above the throne and subdued the sign on the moon, each running for a specific period of time. And it's heaven built. He raised his roof and modeled it. And he darkened his night and gave light to his day. In the Quran, it speaks in many places of heavens as something hard and firm that will break or move or open on the judgment day. Like when the sky cracks. he created the 7-layered heavens. You see no discard in the creation.
It sounds like a glass ceiling that people
Yeah,
want to break.
Oh,
Right?
Yeah, and it also mentions that the sun and the moons are supposed to be in the heavens, the lower heavens. And
Okay.
even the stars are supposed to be like lamps.
They give off a little light with no moon. You can still kind of see.
So, yep, guys. Anyway, we're going to take a short break and then we're going to be continuing. Yep. All right, guys.
Excellent.
yes.
My name is Joshua Silva. I am a licensed commercial pilot and flight instructor. I have had a lifelong love of aviation and aerospace, and when growing up, I even fancied myself an amateur astronomer.
Number one, I'm a pilot, and when I used to fly out of Long Island towards Nantucket, bottom line here is they're going to give you some type of formula for every 100 miles. They're going to give you some type of XYZ per kilometer squared.
Been in aviation for 21 years. Anything from helicopters to aerostats to big birds, little birds, fighter jets, things with engines, no engines, big blades, little blades, compressor blades.
I woke up to the truth of the flat earth, shape of the earth, as an engineer and a pilot.
I'm a merchant marine. I've been sailing 15 years. I graduated from the Paul Hall Maritime Center out of Piney Point, Maryland. I primarily sail on container ships, tankers, drill ships, military cargo vessels. You name it, I can sail on it.
Work experience. I joined the Navy when I was 17 years old. I had a secret security clearance. There's different levels of security clearance. There's a lower level, then there's a secret, which is what I had.
I'll be providing my in-depth experience of U.S. Navy submarines and how they prove we do not live on a globe Earth. However, due to the nature of my job and the security clearance that I hold, I wish to remain anonymous.
All right, welcome back, guys, to the show. What an awesome show we're having today. We have Jeannie, we have Harry, and Evelyn with us. I'm going to give a quick shout out to the people in the chat. It's Stephanie Campbell, there's Evelyn, there is FE Nation, Cover to Cover with Jeremy Pierce, some people from Facebook, and there is Jay Daddy, Mike Zudnik, Carol Herring, Like the Fish, more people from Facebook. Then there's Raw H302. Then we've got Sharif Ibrahim. We got Dr. Frankenstein. And then Zeus Scott we've got. Yep. More people from Facebook. Park Away. And we have some trolls too here. Alan Nostrand. We've got, who else? Park Away, yeah. I Golden Ratio. Dallin James. More people from Facebook. This is suspicious flat earther. Yeah. A few more people. Yeah.
Hi,
Yeah, go ahead.
everybody. I just want to say hello to everybody. Thanks for being here. Spending
hello.
your time with us.
Yeah, there's 7-Eleven Lucas. Then there is Capalicious 420.
420.
Yeah, guys, if there are quite a lot of moderators there in the chat, so if anybody's any trolls are being annoyed, yeah, feel free to silence them. Yeah, getting back to the show, guys. So one of the other aspect which I wanted to discuss is it's one of also quite an important evidence in itself that the earth is flat, speaking about like praying towards Kaaba, right? The Kaaba is a construction whose shape is that of a rectangular prism, which inside the Masjid al-Haram mosque in Mecca, the most important mosque in Islam, the Kaaba is the house of Allah, the house of God, where the divine touches the earthly, and is the direction of prayers where Muslims around the world should direct their prayers. If the earth was a sphere, a prayer would pray in any direction. There would be no point, because somebody in Australia or the other side of the globe is going to be pointing upward, not in the north. So in a way, it works like a compass. The Mecca works like a compass. So anywhere you are, you are like literally south of that central north. You guys understanding what I'm trying to say here?
Totally. Yeah, it's describing where we are. Can you imagine, talk about the tree in the center, right? Can you imagine, like, we live on a grain of sand and the tree is so far away that we can't even see the tree, right? Picture that, something to that perspective. It's crazy. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Harry, you wanted to add something, brother?
Yeah, the Muslims, they had, Mecca, right? Mecca and Medina, they are holy cities, in Saudi Arabia. And Al-Quds, Jerusalem as well. And the Jews always heading, east, heading Jerusalem when they pray. Always. No matter where they are, they're always just heading Jerusalem. Like there are three, for the Abrahamic, religions, there are three important cities or points or lines. There are Mecca, Medina, and Jerusalem, Al-Quds, right? And that's what they share. I have a lot of friends, Palestinian friends in here. Once a year, they're going to Hajj, and they're circumnavigate, this rock in Saudi Arabia, in Mecca. And when you're doing, the road trips, and they have to pray, we have to, pull the car and they just pray heading in Mecca.
Oh yeah, so you imagine somebody in Indonesia, somebody in Australia, somebody in US, somebody in South America, they all have to look literally, geographically, the location of Mecca to prayer, right? In a way, it's literally telling you that everybody is on a flat plane looking as this cube as the center.
Yeah, or else they have to bend their thoughts around it.
Yeah, but it's interesting when you are in Israel and Palestine, you see Jews and Muslims, at certain, hours during the day, pulling the car and praying. The Jews heading in Jerusalem and the Muslims heading in Mecca. And it's interesting triangulation, from Mecca, Medina, and Jerusalem. Interesting, how the intentions, the mental and emotional intentions are, flying, if you could see the energies.
Oh yeah. And in the verse 20, 105, it says that they will ask you about the mountains. The God will return them to the dust, and he will leave the earth as an empty plain in which you will see neither curves nor roughness. It's literally saying that in a verse. You will not see curves or roughness. It's going to flatten even the mountains so everybody sees everything.
Yeah.
Or everybody sees the return, or in a way, or coming back. It's crazy. Well, it sounds very familiar, right, too? In a way of comparison to other scriptures. The return, and everybody's going to see.
Right.
Even in the Bible, it mentions something similar, like when the return of Christ, everybody's...
He sees everybody, and everybody sees him.
Sees him, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the verse says, one day we shall remove the mountains, and thou wilt see the earth as a level stretch, and we shall gather them all together, nor shall we leave out any of them. He's talking about the mountains being flattened.
Exactly.
I wonder if the mountains are the mental strains we have on us right now through the school system and the propaganda we're being bombarded with. Right? The curtain's coming down. The mountain's coming down. We're seeing things. I don't know. Sounds familiar.
Oh, yeah. And then later they say, where is it mentioned that the earth is flat? Where is it mentioned that there is no curve? Here is it mentioned also that there is no curve or roughness.
It's amazing.
And it also speaks about, like in Quran 55:17, like the lords of the eastern too, and the lord of the westerners. The comments are anonymous on that. Like it refers to two places where the sun rises on the summer solstice and the winter, and where it sits on those solstice days. Like it's literally also speaking about the movement of the sun and when
that's the analemma, right? Excellent.
Exactly, and when are the solstice and the equinoxes are happening?
See, it's important to them why they're looking at the sky, looking at the stars. Again, over and over. It's a common thread throughout all of them.
Oh yeah.
Okay, here I found the two seas because there was Dylan James. He was asking, doesn't the Quran have a verse about two rivers or bodies of water meeting but not mixing? So I found the verse here. He hath loosed the two seas, they meet. There is a barrier between them. They encroach not one upon the other. Which is it of the favors of your Lord that ye deny? There cometh forth from both of them the pearl and coral stone. His are the ships displayed upon the sea like banners. So actually he's describing the two seas which meet. And what we do know, mainstream science, is that the Atlantic and the Pacific meet at a certain latitude.
Right.
And and they don't mix. I mean, they have a different color even. So it's the densities and saltiness and everything is just so different that they can't mix, and it's quite impressive to see that on screen.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of that. Is that the Atlantic and the Pacific? Is that the only place where it's like so?
But there are many
striking?
rivers too that don't mix, brother. Not only oceans and seas.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, indeed, yeah.
Excellent.
But it's very impressive because it's the whole stretch where they lie. So
Right.
it's very. You can see the difference in color, and when you can.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, you can float you can sail to one side and the other side.
Right.
So it's quite amazing, yes.
Yeah, it makes me wonder about the memory. Is there a difference between the memory? The water mixes. I don't know. It's just wow. I'll sit there and think about that for a while.
Yeah, it's
Not right
water
now.
with different memories.
Hmm.
Answering, Sharif. I think when talking about those mountains, they're referring to Antarctica. Once they, devastate, those mountains, we will have access to other realms as well, because that's the border we have. That's those mountains, they're just, stopping us from going to other worlds.
Yeah, Antarctica is the highest continent. Right, 7,000 feet, I think, average.
Yeah, average 3,000 meters average.
So yeah, it sounds like the similarities are right there. I can definitely see them. We had the ships that were 400 miles off Antarctica, uncharted, but they were spotted with radar or whatever, however they spotted them. Right. They'll never tell us, but here we are figuring it out.
Oh yeah.
And that's Antarctica. There could be just stuff in the Pacific. Don't forget the globe has the Pacific as like almost complete half of it, where the ISS always happens to be flying over. We show land too much.
Exactly. Yeah, and also there's a mention of like a hemispheric firmament, and how the sun and the moon moves and how they chase, and it's also said that it moves in a way like in a circle, and it goes below the throne of the god. No, like in its circle, it finishes its circle under the throne of the god, and then it takes his permission and goes back again for its next round, for the next day. The way it's literally mentioning the movement of the sun, right?
Very descriptive, and that's when the school steps in and changes it all. Just imaginary stuff. So clever. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, it also mentions about the sun in a way when doing these circles, when to start to its finish, it like in a way enters into the heavens. Like it had an entry and exit in a way in this circle. When it comes back to the east again.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember reading that. When the sun goes to the west, it goes around and it stays in somewhere until it gets permission again to leave and appear again on the east.
Also the new moon and the full moon.
Yes, and the moon also. Yeah.
Let's talk about the Rahu Ketu, black sun.
It only mentions about eclipses a bit, and it is said that when the Judgment Day, it's going to be on a lunar eclipse. That's the only thing mentioned.
On a lunar eclipse, huh? Interesting.
Yeah.
Saw a guy try and post a video of that as being such great evidence, and I thought it was a shame. The poor guy. It's terrible evidence when you shine the shadow of a ball on a ball, or any object on a ball. You see how the distortion is not what you see in the sky.
Exactly, and also it mentions about the sun being much smaller than the Earth and revolving around the Earth, geocentric.
You know, it makes sense. All right, so if it's not pointed out, you listen to the story, you fall for it. But once it's pointed out, like you got to overlook so many things. It's too many things, and the sun is great. When it's coming through the clouds and you can see the crepuscular rays point right back, it's triangulation. It's not 93 million miles away. It's local. It's so in your face, but your mind is in your way. Pride and all that stuff you spent all that time learning. It's hard to see it, I guess, sometimes.
Oh yeah, the sun and the moon are like supposed to be placed in the heavens, according to the Quran, verse 71, 16, and like the lowest of which are adorned with the lamp, in which the sun and the moon, as well as the night and the day, move in the falak. Falak is supposed to be the sky.
I wonder what they said. What was it? Just that was their best description of what the world was as they thought.
Exactly, and in here the word falak, it literally is like, it means like in an ambiguous term that may have meant a circular course, a sphere, hemispheric, that we see in the geocentrism, like.
No, it's brainwashing. It really is.
Exactly. Exactly. And also it mention of the vast extents means that the heavens are continually expanded, like it's continuously expanded, which favors a flat expanse rather than a dome. Like, because there are a difference of opinion about being a flat firmament and a dome firmament.
Right.
But it's just the difference of variation that people try to come up with, right?
Yeah, some people think it's a hologram. The whole thing is fake.
Animation, maybe, right?
Right. Yeah, big projector. Big projector. But that's cool, think what you want. It's good to think out of the box, regardless of what you come up with.
Oh, yeah.
Sharif wants to know, where is it mentioned that there are 7 other?
7 other what?
Earths?
The firmaments, heavens? I don't know.
7 heavens, and there were 7 earths.
There are many. Like in Quran 2:29. So he completed them as 7 firmament in 2 days. And he assigned to each heaven its duty and command. And in 51:47, we have built the heaven with the might, and we who makes the vast extent to the mean that the heavens are continuously expand, which favors a flat expanse earth. There are many. Then there is in Quran 67:3. These heavens are arranged in layers, which more obviously suggest flatness. And in this word, which is very similar to the Babylonian. Even the Babylonians used to believe in flat heaven. Yeah. That is something we can find common also in the Quran and the Babylonian texts. The heavens to the 7 floors, one above another, and the carpet-shaped earth to the uplifted heaven. And he shaped the earth as a carpet, then he ordained it under the firmament, just like those he uplifted.
Yeah.
Very descriptive. How do you turn a carpet into a ball?
Yeah, so about they argue about, as I said, our the pre-Islamic. They also mention in Mesopotamia about those flat firmament, because then there was also, because of the Bedouin, the tent way, the canopy, so there was different mixed views about that.
Within themselves, is that what you're saying? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sharif asks again, if the earth is what they say it is, where is Gog and Magog?
The Gog and Magog are supposed to be in the north near the Hyperborea, according to some scriptures. And there's a wall that separates us, or some kind of barrier that separates us.
And
it also mentions about there are 7 times more Gog and Magog race than for every human being.
Aliens.
Yes. Well, Gog and Magog were giants, and there is a tradition in England somewhere where they do a parade with 2 very big dolls, the giants, the Gog and Magog.
Exactly.
And they still do that today, the parade. So they go through the streets with this big, made up of I don't know, paper mache or something. I don't know.
Right. Reminds me of the Thanksgiving Macy's Day Parade. Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Sorry, in Manhattan. The huge floats.
Yes, we get that in southern in Spain and in Gibraltar. They have floats celebrating the Three Kings Cavalcade on 5 January.
Okay.
So
nice.
And the people, the clubs, different clubs make big floats with, well, whatever is.
January, isn't that cold to be doing floats?
In January, yeah, the Three Kings is January.
Wow.
Yeah, in also in the verses 71:15, it mentions solid firmaments and invisible pillars. Like the Quranic sky, heaven is a solid object, unlike with the heavenly pillars in the Bible. Like the Quranic heavens are raised up by invisible pillars. There are pillars, but you cannot see them. The heaven is like a dome over the earth, meaning without pillars. And it's Allah who created the heaven without the pillars that you can not see, right?
Yeah, because the dome is attached to the sides, so there's nothing to see in the middle.
Yeah, and in a way, like it described the heaven as a structure or a building with no fissures, like nothing
cracks.
blocking the view through fragments, and that these fragments could fall on earth and injure the human being. So it is designed in a way that it's so solid that nothing can fall off and we get hurt. It's literally mentioned in that way. You imagine where the hell the globe goes there, right?
That makes me think of the comic strips, Asterix and Obelix. They were always afraid that the sky would fall on their heads.
Exactly.
Putting it in the minds of kids.
Yeah, I still got the books upstairs. I mean, there's
But no, a dome is the strongest structure you could build.
Exactly. He who had created seven heavens in harmony. Thou canst see no fault in the beneficent one's creation. Then look again. Can thou see any rifts? And the fact that the sky heaven is a solid is shown by concept of pieces falling and potentially injuring residents of the earth. See, they're not what is before them and behind them of the sky and the earth.
So wait a second, it's talking about pieces falling and hurting people?
It's saying that it's so well made that the pieces cannot fall and injure people.
Right.
It's the opposite.
Okay. Well, that's what made me think of a dome being the strongest structure you could build. As circular, you know, once you start deviating off circle, it starts to weaken, but it's still strong until a certain point, right?
Exactly, and it literally says that also in the verse 34:19. These heavens are described as strong, and we have built above you 7 strong heavens. So imagine, it's literally telling you that we are below and everything is above us, holding everything, right? It's crazy.
It's great. You know, it reminds me of like in life. You know, we go through life as young, you grow old, and you get to school, and you want to do better, and you go through school in different grades, and you know, you just want to do better in life, right? It kind of reminds me of that. How many different heavens you can get to. It's like if you're a spirit, you got to have different qualities to learn and master. No, right? It's kind of idea. Just thoughts from a person.
Oh yeah, and there's another verse which is 78:12, which is saying literally, in fact, the dome is so strong and substantial that it is even conceivable to climb up onto them using a ladder. Like it mentioned that it's a god. Eh?
I've been on some big ladders.
No, because also in the in some part of the hadith it speaks about Nimrod, because Nimrod in the hadith is supposed to be Nimrud, and he was also building this rocket or a ladder or a mountain. or
He was
to
building a tower.
Right.
a tower. Yeah.
And it was about 500 miles long. And it took them, it would take them how many years to climb? I think it was described as taking 200 years or something like that to climb to the top to build the next level. So if a brick would fall down, no, well, then they wouldn't like that because, well,
Somebody's getting fired.
tired. If somebody would fall down, they would just next, take the place.
Oh yeah. So mentioning the dome, it says that it's a guarded roof, like presumably a reference to shooting stars chasing devils, like in other verses. This is mentioned in verse 6.35, right? And we made the sky a protected ceiling, but from its signs are turning away. Another mention of what is turning and what is moving right there inside a solid dome.
So with all these things that point out the shape and movement, and how's all of it overlooked by so many people in so many cultures? It's crazy. It's a school. It's a TV.
Oh yeah, because if you question these scholars, the difficult questions, the answers are going to be there, but nobody questions them, right? Like once in a blue moon, these people come forward and say something that really gets your mind. Say, hey, he's speaking about flat Earth. He's speaking about the movement of the sun, or whatever other thing which mentions, right? So.
Right. Well, some scientists are now starting to be a little more heard about the electric sun. There seems to be gaining a little bit of interest, I guess. I hope. That'd be nice.
Oh yeah. Sharif Ibrahim says, actually, I believe Gog and Magog are way behind Antarctica ice wall in one of the other 7 lands. Could be possible, brother. Extra lands could be. But sure. There are some texts which speaks about that it's supposed to be in the northern part. Not northern, but literally speaking about Hyperborea, if you compare it in other texts. So Hyperborea could be, according to some texts, in the north, center north, or or according to other texts, it could be in the outer lands. What is really north or outer lands depend on the perspective of each individual races, right? Who is that? KCS. Oh yeah, KCS. I didn't know who is KCS.
Sorry guys, how are you?
That's okay.
Hey, I just been listening for the last 10 minutes. Busy tonight, but just want to jump on and say hi.
How you been doing, Keith? Yeah.
I've been good, man. It's been a long week, but a good week. I just caught the last 10 or 15 minutes of the show. I did not know the Quran said that the earth was laid out like a carpet. I've never seen a carpet rolled up in a ball before. They've always been flat to me, but that's a good one.
Oh yeah, we are almost 1.5 hour on this, and sounds very similar or very descriptive, as Gene says, like that which you can't deny, about its expanse, the flatness, the stretched out earth, the tent, the canopy, the solid structure of the dome, the 7 heavens, and everything in between, the hell, everything, and the sun and the moon, the portals in a way, the throne, the creation story. So quite similar, yeah. But interesting too, quite interesting, yeah. Much more detailed too, yeah.
I just say I look forward to going back and listening to the whole podcast, hopefully tomorrow. But yeah, I heard you guys mentioning about the dome and the possibility that the stars are flat above us, just like the land is flat below us. And I tend to believe that. I don't necessarily think that there's a dome over us. I think it appears to be a dome because the stars and the sun, everything appears to be lower in the sky as they rotate further away from us. But my gut and just the bit of research I've done the last few years it tends to believe that the sky is a plane, just like the Earth is a plane, and what's beyond our visible dome. Could there be another bigger dome that encompasses more lands and another sun and another moon? I mean, could be, but there's flat earthers that teach that the sun is at its highest altitude when it's over the Tropic of Cancer, and as it moves down to the equator, then out over the Tropic of Capricorn, it's at a lower altitude. And I don't think that's what we observe. I think the sun and the moon remain at the same altitude all the time, but they appear to go down. Same with the stars. They appear to go down in the shape of a dome, but I think that's just because they're further away from our perspective. And because of that, I tend to think that the sky, just like the sun and the moon being the same altitude, I think the sky is the same altitude. I think all the stars rotating over us are the same altitude, like the sun and the moon are the same altitude. So what do you guys think?
Oh yeah, it does mention in the Quran in a way about the distances between different heavens. So it speaks about you need the same amount of time to go from this earth to the first heaven, and the same amount of time to go from here to the below, and the next, right? So in a way, it's trying to put distance, explain the distance in its way, of a similar distance, multiplying or doubling every time, or because in level 1 and 3 it's going to be the double of between 1 and 2, right? So a way of expressing it, but it is said that. And also it doesn't mention of different more suns, because they don't see, because most of it about the Islamic cosmology is that they believe in everything they can see, right? So they do mention that there are no two more suns. Maybe in another one for them, maybe for another heaven, maybe, who knows? But it's not mentioned about more suns. Right. If you literally look into it.
Well, that was interesting about the invisible pillars. Also, that makes having a pillar, even invisible or not, it makes sense if the sky was a plane above us. Like a structure being built, first floor, second floor. So that's I had never heard about invisible pillars from the Quran either. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, because as we mentioned before, when you were not there, the cube shape is supposed to be in a way representation of the earth in some aspect. Okay, so it's like literally showing you a building and the heavens above as a square building in layers. That's part of the concept, and there are different words which could also mean that it could be a dome shape, where there are some words like falak. So the importance is, because I have seen some part of the cosmologies about the Islamic, where I mentioned that it literally looks like how do you say, a disc, flying disc, UFO, a flying saucer, more than being it like, a square or round, in a kind of a glass, and you have different layers in them. There are some scholars. Yeah, go ahead.
What is the significance of the cube in Mecca, that they go there and they walk around it certain times of the year? Is that something related to their cosmology at all?
Yeah, that's why you need to go and listen to the podcast, because we did mention that, but I'll give you a short rhythm that it's mentioned that the Muslims go around the Mecca because according to them, that's where all the central shaft is for all the heavens. That all the heavens are, and the God's throne is supposed to be above that cube. that's why that place is important for them, and that's why they do circles around that. That is like supposed to be in a way the magnetic. It's supposed to be the north, in a way of all the heavens, and where it's accessible, which also are there in different cosmologies, which speaks about that central shaft where all the heavens are accessible. It's not only in Islamic culture. The way to access these heavens or seven heavens. There's a very specific about seven heavens and the difference of between the earth and the heavens, and the earth being the base of everything above us. So, and the nature of the seven heavens, the Hadith talks about distances between each heavens, as well as what is on the other side, about the furthermost,
Yeah, I was just thinking about invisible pillars, and does that mean we just can't see them?
Yeah.
Right, like invisible can mean a couple different things. Are they not visible ever?
No, because there's a difference. There's a difference, because if we just believe, for example, according to the Bible, we have a walled dome, and the pillars are supposed to be the pillars below. Right?
Right.
We are not supposed to have any pillars between the firmament and the ground, right?
Right.
But here it's mentioning that it's in a way that everything is holding to a pillar, because it's so huge and so vast that it's supported by invisible pillars. It's just to show, in a way, the way it's speaking about in an aspect of perfection.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't bother me, though, honestly. If everything, like we're talking about, the infinite plane is supported by like nothing, that's okay. Something.
Oh yeah,
there,
because if you really think about it, it's really vast.
Yeah.
The Earth is really vast. It's really vast.
I have to think that, if they say we use 10% of our brain, take just what they tell us and really find out what they're trying to tell us, right? So all the life we understand, we think we know, could be just such a small portion of what really goes on, and it could be right here on this plane somewhere. Well, it is, I think, actually, but accessible is really more the question. Definitely not. I see at this point, and the age limit too. If like we've spoke about living for hundreds of years. I still love that idea. A nice, peaceful, harmonious world. Living for hundreds of years, hanging out with everybody, that's cool. And we don't let our differences get in the way of each other, because that's not important. The friendship is, the relationships are, right? Of course we got differences. We're supposed to. It makes us individuals.
Well, maybe Trump can get elected and he'll save the world and it'll be peaceful. Sorry, I couldn't resist. I had a debate with somebody this week, still holding on to the Q and the trust the plan stuff. It's like, dude, I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. I mean, the controllers of this system are evil as hell. They play everybody against each other. They lie about almost everything.
Q was interesting for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, I think the bottom line is you can't fix the system with the system. And flat Earth is so far beyond and outside of the system. That's one reason why I give it so much of my time.
Yeah, when I first heard of them, I sort of followed everything that came along by people sharing stuff and all that. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna see what's this about, and it was quite obvious. quite obvious quite quickly that they were talking nonsense.
Well, when he started bragging about the magic juice and launch Space Force like they were going to protect the Earth from aliens or something, I lost all credibility for anything in politics after that.
Yeah, bro. I had hope for him, but look at the past though. Now it's like it's rear view vision, so don't count. But yeah, he was like the Obi-Wan. I think he was just put there to soften things up because this place would have went berserk with anything, if anything else happened. So they had us, right? If what's happening now happened then, I think it would have been different. He was like a buffer zone of some sort. They needed to put things in place. But anyway.
I mean, politics and religion, to me, they're just part of the same game. I don't follow any religion. I don't follow any political party at all. In fact, most of the religious people I know, no matter what religion it is, they still believe in the globe. They still believe it's a spinning wet rock in outer space. So, I take everything very skeptical when anybody says global this or global that, regardless of their politics, regardless of their religion. They're still under the delusion that the globe is real, and that makes me think everything they believe and everything they preach is tainted by that one view.
Sure it is. It's not reality, bro. And then they'll go right to, oh, they figured that out. It's the same thing. They know better now. Well, everything else they got, all of the old stuff is right on, but they're all wrong in that one area. And that's where the school and science and the commercials step in and take over our ability to see this stuff.
Oh yeah. So in one of the scriptures, it mentions also someone asked, "Do you know the distance between the heaven and the earth?" And like they replied, like we do not know. And then he said, like the distance between them is 71, 72, or 73 years. The heaven which is above, it is at a similar distance, going on till he counted 7 heavens. Above the 7th heaven, there is a sea. The distance between whose surface and bottom is like that between one heaven and the next. So just imagine the magnitude that is described here above the earth and the heavens. It's crazy. Yeah, it's not different, guys, so we saw that we saw it in Bible, we saw it in the Sumerians, we saw in the Norse. It's speaking about different realms above. It doesn't mention so much about the lower earth a lot, but it does mention about even heaven and hell being low. But yeah, in a way, the concept is the same. The stationary, geostationary, flat earth, and these, like Bible or like Torah or any other faith, cosmology you want to call it, or books, it's mentioning the same thing. These people were not in fantasy world, or these people were not just, they wrote what they saw it, or the information that was given to them according to at least this religion, supposed to be as one of the new religion, as we mentioned. So could be that some information could be more compact also in a way, which is not found in others. So that's why I always say we should analyze everything and take from everything the best part, because I believe that most of the cosmology is like a jigsaw puzzle. Everything has its purpose. Everything has its information that needs to be decoded from everywhere to get the big picture of where we live and where we are, what are the possibility of how we are here. And because all these creation stories, all their creation of the world, of all these cosmologies is literally telling us in the face that is flat, there is no spirituality, there is no black hole, there is no all these things they try to push us. The Tommy Rogers, how are you, brother? The book is just a representation, brother, because what these stories come from, it's from mouth to mouth, because the rest all is just making it up and adding more details to it, and variations are in its own way, but the real stories are the same from thousands of years. These books are just representation. The people want to grab onto something physical, but the importance is the message. The importance is the truth, what is reflecting from everywhere. Rather, that's the important.
That's right. That's what I get from it. All of them got great things to share and offer and bring. That's how I feel.
Yeah, because the truth and the root source is pure. It's spiritual. Yeah. It's clean. That's why it's continued to evolve and reach us through different ways in different formats. So, yeah, guys, it's no different. And yeah, we saw that in different the last few episodes that we did, and we're gonna see that in the future episodes. That is no different, and it's quite interesting because breaking it down one by one, and seeing so much similarity, because we all knew, there are all cosmologies, there are similarities, and they are the same, but digging in so much individually to each one, and coming and getting all these points more on a deeper level makes us understand, right? That what the truth is, and not what they're trying to sell us with all these fake globes and all this fake space and sci-fi, right? So
they're pounding us with it too. It's surrounded by it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, as kids, since the start, we're surrounded with it. Space, all over the place.
So, so according to the Quran, the earth is flat, and as evidenced by the verses of the Quran, and that the sun is much more smaller than the earth and revolves around it, So as devout Muslims, these people have good reason to conclude that the earth is flat. All the verses we mentioned, the verses of the Quran clearly states, and not a single verse about sphere,
or moving.
Exactly. And scientific theories are known to change, with progress and new discoveries. And what is tested today will change tomorrow. And
exactly. And the new discoveries they make, you got to sometimes forget what you thought was true yesterday rather.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. You got to change what you believe and think. It's crazy what these people putting out there as James Webb telescope pictures. They're like, hey, look at that stuff. Oh my goodness. That thing just focuses in on these massive, stellar structures in the middle of nowhere. And it's like this perfectly focused. And like all the backgrounds are the same almost. It's just crazy. Like makes me wonder what kind of spell. How deep of a spell is it that people are like, nah, it's real. You don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, because the science also is about the speculation. So that's why what they're telling today, they even don't know that tomorrow they're gonna themselves are gonna be, contrary to what they are doing and saying today. So we have to be open, for the change. So and this is the thing. Disagreement is one of the rules of this life, right? And this disagreement and curiosity pushes everyone to seek and explore more, right?
Absolutely.
As we have already seen, like the Islamic cosmology is no different than any other ancient cosmology. Describes exactly the same thing with Judaism and Christianity. So very, very similar. So it is important to take into account all the information regarding a topic when investigating it. As in this case, we are talking about something as interesting as it is the shape of our world, and it's definitely flat. So yeah, guys, we're going to be wrapping up with our last thoughts on the topic. And what you guys want to add before we jump out?
Yeah, I'll say goodnight, everyone. So there's over, I don't know how many mainstream ones or more popular ones, but there's over 20 up to pushing 25 different versions of it. Like the Norse, the Greek, Egypt, Japanese, Persian, Mayan, so many different
Zoroastrian,
ones.
yeah.
Right? Yeah, the countless, bro. And you know what? Even the Masons have a depiction of the similarities between what we're talking about, guys. And then there's NASA. So, and some of the similarities is so striking. Like only the names have been changed to protect the guilty and the innocent is kind of what it looks like, right? And but yeah, bro, thanks for throwing the show, man. It was really great to be here, and thanks to everybody. And thank you really so much for hanging out with us, spending your time. And thanks everybody in the panel too. You guys are great. I know you're waking up at all kinds of different hours to be here with us to do this, and I really appreciate it. You guys are really awesome. And thanks again, brother. I'll talk to you soon. Good night, everyone. I'll see you later.
Oh yeah, thank you, Jeannie, brother. Awesome. Yeah. Amazing podcast. Yeah, we're all enjoying this series.
Yeah, very, very cool.
Awesome.
Yes. I'll go next. So, up until a couple of 100 years ago, or maybe less, people all knew the Earth was flat. I mean, can you imagine if that came back, all that knowledge? I mean, governments would fall, schools would close. Everything would change. But I think it would change also for the better, because then we wouldn't have to rely on all those rules and laws put on by the controllers, by the leaders, because people just think that they have to follow all this, and the only control is in your mind. Once that is gone, they don't have the power over you anymore. So it's been another interesting episode, and hope to come back next week with another history. So good night. Thanks. Nice to see you guys. And good night, good day, good afternoon, wherever you are.
Oh yeah, Evelyn, thank you. Awesome. Thank you for all your inputs. Yeah, we all are having a great time.
So next.
Bye.
I'll say good night. Sorry I missed you guys earlier. I look forward to listening to the whole show. Hopefully tomorrow. I was glad I could get on the last 20 minutes or so here. It was interesting, just a few things I heard while I was listening. It's a very interesting. I don't know much about the Quran, and I think that's the point for a lot of people who believe in the magic spinning wet rock in outer space. They don't know much about any of the cosmologies that we've talked about. I think, if my memory serves me correct, the last 5 weeks we've done the book of Enoch, we've done the Bible, we've done the Sumerians, we've done the Norse, and now the Quran tonight. And the similarities amongst those 5 that we've covered and all the other ones that Gene just mentioned is that the earth is flat and that the sun is small and local and it moves over us and we don't move. And there's something beyond us, some kind of a heaven and maybe multiple heavens. But yeah, the similarities on all the cosmologies that we've looked into, I think it's probably, you'll find it on all the ancient cosmologies, no matter which one you look into, that the earth is flat. And personally, I believe that's because the people that were here before us are much smarter than we were, or we are. I think we are probably the dumbest generation ever to live on this plane. That's just my opinion, but I think waking up to this flat Earth fact helps all of us start being able to question things more and therefore get smarter. Because for me, I think the process of thinking is the process of asking questions. So if we can question NASA and question the alleged authorities of the system, I think we'll all start getting smarter. And at least I hope I am. I don't know. There's always a lot more that I don't know than what I do know. But I feel like the flat Earth awakening, if you will, is helping me and people I know actually get smarter instead of just rooting and hollering and drinking their beer and hollering for their next football game and all the bread and circuses that we see everywhere. So, Vikka, thanks again for the show. Gene, Evelyn, Harry, it's good to be with you guys again, and I hope to see you again next week.
That was great,
yeah.
Keith.
Oh yeah, definitely, brother. Yeah, the problem is we are not finding the curve in any cosmology, guys. That's the problem.
Yeah, you're right. Not in any cosmology and not in any movie. If you look at the logo of Disney, you will see there's dome. If you go to Truman Show, we are inside the dome, right? And if you go to the Matrix, well, the minute 33 seconds, funny number, 33. You find out, how people are connected to the Matrix and all the waters, the waters below. So the truth is out there. You have to see it. They're all telling you through movies, through negative priming, consciously. But religions, movies, the new religions are Disney, Hollywood, and whatever. All right. So we have to just open the eyes. The most important thing about those podcasts is the connection. You're connecting to each other. I'm meeting here so amazing people. Like today, right? Sharif from Bahrain. We are already connecting on Instagram, and we are connecting all over the world, and we are the ones who will change the world, as Evelyn, says. The system is collapsing for good because we cannot rebuild, a better world based on those infrastructures. We have to, destroy these infrastructures. The economy have to collapse, politics have to collapse, the corrupted science have to collapse. Everything have to collapse in order to rebuild a better place. Good night, people. Was so interesting this evening and so beautiful to connect with all of you.
Oh yeah, definitely, brother. Yeah, thank you for being here and all your input. Yeah, even you are having some strange weather today there, but at least we are happy that you could get through and we could have your input. Oh yeah, we are all playing our part, in this even if maybe it looks maybe minimum, but it's important. And as you say, we all need to get together, respect everybody's opinion and views and ideas of Earth. And yeah, what we are doing is we are literally looking for those small specific points in every cosmology to get to the deeper truth so that the people can understand really well. And every verses in every places are saying the same thing. So yeah, guys, there you have it. Like any other cosmology, Islamic cosmology also is a very strong flat earth cosmology, flat earth 100%. So thank you everybody in the chat. Thank you Jeannie, thank you Harry, Evelyn, Keith, and everybody in the chat. Yeah, even though we had a lot of new faces today and also a lot of trolls, but I don't know why, but welcome everybody. As long as it's said respectfully, it's no problem. And make sure you guys check us out on the next week episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. So this is your host Vikka Draziv signing off, guys. So see you guys next week. Bye everyone.
Good night, guys.
Cheers, people.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Astronauts to the moon.
Houston, we have a problem.